dear friend of Rajdeep Sardesai, Mr. Amit Malviya now joins us. He was just complaining, Rajdeep was complaining, Amit, that you pull one little clip of something he says and your army is viraling it. He's
no problem. No problem.
This is a big victory, 270 plus for the BJP at this moment. It's Holi come early, lots of gulal at the BJP office, I'm told. Many congratulations, Mr. Malviya.
Thank you so much. First of all, my condolences to Rajdeep Sardesai. It's a bad day for him. Perhaps there is some joy for him in the result that Aam Aadmi Party has put out in Punjab. He can probably take the dance floor and make good of the day, whatever is left.
By someone who should have read my article on the 25th of February where I predicted a BJP win. I don't fall into your Godi media. That doesn't mean I fall onto the other side. I have no Godi, neither yours or the other side, Mr. Malviya. And I will tell you this with all humility. I suggest you read it. It's in English, very simply written, where I say BJP has a clear lead in UP. I challenge any of your Godi media to ever say that the opposition is leading in a state where they are actually leading. That's the difference between the people that you patronize and the journalism I do. I started journalism when you were probably in school, sir. So please, with due regard, I wish you well. Congratulations. Great day for you. And I'm going to dance, I promise.
Well, Rajdeep, as far as Godi media is concerned, the people whose Godi you want to sit in does not have or do not have the people's mandate. As far as your journalism is concerned, people should watch your interview of Sonia Gandhi in Anand Bhavan. What a lamb looks like, they will know. So please don't tell me about your journalism. Everybody knows about it.
Be gracious, accept the congratulations. Be gracious at this time. There's no point getting into personal attacks. Be gracious. They're congratulating you.
He's the head of the IT cell. He has to every day attack someone. He tells the trolls who to attack. That's his job.
Achha, why are we fighting? Amit Malviya, it's a big day. It's a big victory.
He's a troll army in charge.
Leading in four states. This, do you think, you were very closely involved in the West Bengal campaign. Do you think what happened in West Bengal is now completely done and dusted and BJP now well poised for 2024? That big battle of the general elections after this huge victory in the semi-finals gives BJP a leg up in its prospects, you think?
Well, let's come to substantive conversation because clearly I don't think Rajdeep is capable of holding one. But Bengal, the BJP has 38% vote share in Bengal and is the principal opposition there in Bengal with 18 Lok Sabha members and 77 legislators in the assembly. So we are in a great position in Bengal and certainly next time around we will have more MPs from the state and we'll form government there. Coming to Uttar Pradesh, it's a phenomenal win. No chief minister has ever completed a 5-year term and got re-elected for the second time. And since 1985, which is 37 years from now, no party has come back to power in Uttar Pradesh. This has purely been possible because of the governance, delivery, law and order, women empowerment, security, infrastructure development, improvement in healthcare, education. I keep listening to Rajdeep and his ilk talking about Hindutva, polarization and all of that stuff. Do you realize that the BJP has gone far deeper into Uttar Pradesh? It is now seen as a party of governance. There's no taking away from the fact that we are involved in reclaiming the cultural ethos of this country. The Kashi Dham is an example. The Grand Temple at Ayodhya is an example. What we've done in Uttarakhand, as far as the Char Dham is concerned, it is significant. No other leader other than Prime Minister Modi after Devi Bai Holkar has done so much for rejuvenation of the Hindu cause. But there is a lot beyond that that is in play there in Uttar Pradesh. From 2014 to 2017 to 2019 and now 2022, the mandate is overwhelmingly in favor of the BJP, its governance, its pro-poor policies, pro-women policies. I mean, there is so much that people who don't have blinkered views can look at and perhaps take back home in terms of what governance and development and positivity means as far as state of Uttar Pradesh is concerned.
You know, Amit Malviya is absolutely right. And when I wrote that article, I gave 5 reasons. Hindutva was one of them. I believe this is a Hindutva plus era. The problem, in fact, I believe with the Mandal parties, is that they have not been able to evolve into Mandal plus politics. Today, politics cannot be only fought on identity. The 1990s in Uttar Pradesh was a decade of sharp identity politics. Now you need identity plus. Mr. Modi, through Labharti schemes, through welfareism, through ration, has provided that. There is absolutely no doubt about that. We should have, an acknowledgement of what is happening on the ground. Some of us see it. Some of us choose not to see it. Some of us live in our troll armies and our echo chambers. I believe we must distance ourselves from both.
I want to ask Mr. Malviya about these images that we are getting on our screen right now of Arvind Kejriwal and Bhagwant Mann together. While the BJP didn't have very much at stake in Punjab, what do you make, sir, of the emergence of AAP as a party that swept a massive jhadu in Punjab? Now, apart from Delhi, they run Punjab, which is a full state. How does the BJP see AAP's prospects? They're saying we are your national challenger, or they think that they will be in time to come.
Rahul, let me put this in context. There's no doubt that the Aam Aadmi Party has done well in Punjab, and the mandate for the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab is against the disenchantment that people have with the Congress and the Akali. It's for the first time that the BJP has contested Punjab on its own steam and not in an alliance with the Akali, our traditional partners. We've gone beyond our regular 23 seats that we used to contest. But this whole chatter about the Aam Aadmi Party being the national alternative to the BJP, I think is a little premature. The Punjab state sends 13 Lok Sabha MPs, Delhi has 7. That puts the total at 20. The Aam Aadmi Party has never won a Lok Sabha seat from Delhi. So people vote differently as far as state elections are concerned and as far as Lok Sabha is concerned. Also, when you talk about national alternative, you have other claimants like Mamata Banerjee from West Bengal, which gives 42 Lok Sabha seats. You also have KCR from Telangana. You have Stalin. You have Sharad Pawar, who's been the Prime Minister in waiting forever now. So is there an acceptability and is there a momentum, and has the Congress actually abdicated states like Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and several states where they are in a direct contest with the Congress? So it's great chatter and it's no doubt a great achievement for the Aam Aadmi Party, but I think this whole talk about being the national alternative is a little premature, but
do you fear,
have the indulgence.
Do you fear the AAP more than the Congress? The straight answer and a yes or no answer. Do you fear that if the AAP comes into Himachal Pradesh tomorrow, if the AAP comes into states where the BJP is more vulnerable, do you fear the AAP's election strategy more than that of the Congress? Prashant Kishore once told me the most difficult election he faced was 2017 taking on AAP. Do you agree that the AAP provides you a formidable challenge?
Why just the AAP? Any political party that is an opposition to us is a challenger. The Aam Aadmi Party is also in Goa and in Uttarakhand. They have not been able to make a mark at all. So you can't be selective about picking up one state where they've done well and not talk about others. The BJP has done well in 4 out of the 5 states that we are talking about, and you seem to be running down the BJP's achievement, but Punjab, which has done well in 1, you seem to think that they are national alternative. That is what I call biased journalism and blinkers.
Okay.
Okay, Prithvi Reddy joins us. I want to put this point that Amit Malviya is making to the AAP spokesperson. Amit Malviya arguing very passionately that you won Punjab, it doesn't mean you're a national alternative. Stop dreaming, get real. It's one state. Look at what happened in Uttarakhand. Look also at what happened in Goa.
Rahul, I don't know why Mr. Malviya said that, because I don't think we've ever claimed that we are a national alternative. We know that we are a young party. We are not looking to be an alternative either to the BJP or to the Congress. What we are looking to is provide the people of India a real alternative, not substitute. I'm sure Mr. Malviya would love to have the Congress as an opposition across the country. I can only say that across the country, wherever the BJP has had a strong opposition, they have lost. And I think there's a message in that for the entire opposition that you need to go to the people not with an ideology, because ideology doesn't fill a person's stomach. You need to go to people with a clear-cut agenda and tell them what we have to offer. I think the difference between some of the other opposition parties and the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab is that we spelled out what we will do for the people of Punjab.
Preeti has a question for you. Preeti.
So I have a question for Mr. Malviya. Mr. Malviya, you said that this is the first time you went in with the number of seats. By the way, also, your alliance partner, Captain Amrinder Singh, has lost Patiala. But I want to ask you, wouldn't you have hoped that you at least got a bigger vote share this time? You're fighting over double the number of seats what you were fighting in 2017. You're over 70 seats you're fighting this time around, and your vote share and your seats are still just about 3 and lesser than what it was when you were fighting about 20 odd seats.
Before I answer that leading question, would you tell me what has happened to Navjot Singh Sidhu? Would you tell me what has happened to Charanjit Singh Channi? Would you tell me what has happened to Harish Rawat in Uttarakhand? Now these are people who were in office there.
So it's a question to you, sir. It's a question about the BJP, because this is the first time you're going over 70 seats in Punjab. One would have thought that the showing of the BJP at this point of time in terms of sheer vote percentage would have been a lot more than what it was in 2017 when you fought just 20 odd seats. But your showing is lesser actually what it was in 2017.
You know, Preeti, you make it sound like an intelligent question, but it isn't. Because in 2017, we were in alliance with the Akali. So obviously, some vote that would have gone to Akali came to the BJP because of the alliance that we were in. Today, we are fighting as a party on our own steam. And of course, we haven't pushed aggressively in the last 5 years for several reasons. Give us 5 years, maybe next 5 years, we will work in Punjab and I'll come back to you. Or you won't have to ask me that question because the numbers will show for our performance in Punjab as well. But for now, the question should be asked, where is Navjot Singh Sidhu? What happened to this great example of, Channi being the chief minister and Rahul Gandhi's plan?
The question should be asked to Gurdeep Sapal, spokesperson Congress, because when it comes to Punjab, the Congress has had a bit of a meltdown. The party in power down to 18 seats. Today is possibly, and if Goa goes the way it is, it'll be a day of blanking out completely. This could be the worst nightmare. Are you today willing to concede the manner in which Captain Amrinder Singh was removed, the timing of it, the attacks between Channi and Sidhu? Congress pressed the self-destruct button in Punjab, yes or no, Sapalji?
Rajiv, first of all, I'll congratulate both BJP and Aam Aadmi Party for their respective successes. It's a bad day for Congress, no doubt about it. And certainly people do not like the bickering state spillover. You can't have two views about it. But I will add to it what Mr. Varun Reddy just now said. And I think he summed it up very beautifully, that today ideology doesn't matter. And that is what Aam Aadmi Party is all about, because it can conveniently sit back. It can choose to be passive in Delhi riots. It can choose silence on the questions of crony capitalism, about the economy, about people who are in distress. It's only about freebies. And there's a shelf life of such politics. I think, as you yourself said a little while ago, next few years are there for Congress party, because ideology does matter. And what Rahul Gandhi has done in past few years is, he has brought back Congress party to the ideological basis. And now we need to follow it up with organizational work and communication. Because somewhere we have not been able to communicate what Congress party stands for and
sir, what about your leadership? You see, accountability of leadership that takes decision that leads to defeat. Everywhere, in most Western democracies, that leads to a leadership change. Would that ever lead to that in Congress? Will Mr. Sidhu at least step aside? Will those who appointed him admit that they got it wrong? Should there be some accountability? Who is responsible? Don't only blame it on the organization and poor workers when your leaders were fighting like cats and dogs.
No. Accountability question does arise, and within the organization it is discussed. It's not for the public spectacle that we do such things. There will be a lot of introspection within the Congress party also. We do introspect. But we have to realize that Congress party is also going through a very churning phase. Congress party today is not what it used to be. And a whole new organization structure has to emerge. And it has to be built upon ideological clarity, unlike what Aam Aadmi Party says. That is what we are looking at now. That ideologically,
Rajdeep,
let us
may I
be
come
very
in,
clear
please?
where
Rakesh
RSS
Sinha wants to
stands
make a very
and
quick
where
point.
Congress
Yes?
stands.
May I
And
come
that
in?
is
I
why.
see
that
the
is
comparison
why
between earlier we were
RSS
doing between
Aam
Uttarakhand
Aadmi is
and
not
Punjab.
palatable to
Chief
RSS,
ministers were changed.
unlike Congress.
Here leadership matters. Prime Minister Modi lifted the entire election campaign, irrespective of change of the leadership. Gradual three chief ministers were changed. But your leadership could not do that. So I think that there is a characteristically difference between the Congress leadership and what Prime Minister Modi is doing. One leader is connected with the people, has credibility, so he gives the people faith in his leadership, in his policy and program. Your leadership fails to give confidence among your own workers. You change the party president, you change the chief minister, new party president, they don't have harmony, and that is in public utterances. So I think it is the complete failure of the leadership.
Let Mr. Reddy also join the debate, because somewhere, Mr. Reddy, you're talking about opposition and what perhaps other opposition parties need to learn. I'm just looking at Goa, and if the Congress or the opposition loses Goa, it's because it's been fragmented. You're leading in 2, but there are 23 seats where the margin is less than 1,000 votes, and AAP and the TMC have chipped at the Congress. So is there a message, maybe in smaller states, to get your act together, to work together? Or every party now, every opposition party will fight for his or her own turf? There's impossible to have an opposition front in India.
What the future holds, I cannot predict, Rajdeep. But one thing is very clear. The people of Goa gave a mandate for the Congress last time. 14 out of the 17 MLAs sold themselves. When you talk about this horse trading, you need a seller and you need a buyer. And I blame both the parties. As far as the issue of that Mr. Uppal was raising about ideology, I think the only votes that the BJP, the Congress is getting is the anti-BJP vote. And I don't think they have utilized that to provide an opposition to the BJP in this country. I think Congress has failed the people of this country across board, whether it's at the state level or at the national level.
Okay.
An ideology is important, but you need to spell out what you're going to do.